Well, again, I'd like to welcome all of you to this 1-hour orientation with Anka and myself, devotees of Yogananda, here in Encinitas, reaching out to other devotees that we might be able to help support in communicating with family, friends, clients during the lockdown period of this coronavirus. There's no reason why social distancing needs to mean we're socially disconnected, and utilizing the tools, the technical tools and the social tools available to us to communicate with others so we can continue to live productive lives. And so today is about sharing with you some ideas for that.
And we're excited that you're joining us, that you're opening up to new possibilities that can help you, your family, your business, or whatever you need at this time.
I will say the program's being recorded for those watching the archive. Again, thank you for that. Feel free to share it with anyone. We are not charging for anything we're talking about here today. This is not a business for us. We're not in that business at all. This is pure seva. And if we can help other devotees, that's what we want to do. Also, the slides that we will share with you here today, I'll put on Google Docs and make them publicly available. I'll put the link to that in the YouTube video. So when you go there, you can download these slides. Again, feel free to do so. You can share them freely. Do as you please with them. And again, this is a beginning, we believe, that may be continued. We're not going to solve all the problems here, nor offer all the opportunities, but we can certainly begin to explore some of those. And Anka and I will stand ready to support you further beyond today within the limitations of what we are bringing to bear here. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Basically, just to be clear, you know, we have had some misunderstanding based on the email that was sent out by Phil Bolsta. Thank you, Phil, for that. But we had some that thought that we were a business, that they would hire us to make videos or to do video production, video editing, a variety of things like this. And although we have the skills to do so, we're not in that business, and we really don't have an interest in it. So we've deflected those to people that are in that business, people that do video post-production as an example. So I just want to be clear as to what we are able to do and what we're not able to do. What we're able to do is provide guidance to help you to connect online using any of the key leading platforms that are available. I'm going to speak to a few of them here today. And there are new ones that are coming out you may not know about yet. Also, we have the ability, as we're showing you here, we have a little studio set up. We have the cameras and microphones and lighting here in this temple, as well as in our studio upstairs, where we do the yoga classes. And if any of you would like to utilize those facilities, just coordinate with us. Again, within the constraints that we had identified in the email. We obviously expect you to be healthy, you know, symptom-free, come wearing a mask. We won't wear a mask when you're being filmed. I can do the videotaping for you. I can produce and edit that video. I can help you upload it to YouTube or Facebook Live, or just give it to you on a thumb drive or a DVD, however you choose. But it is a local way for you to just show up and deliver. You know, it could be a message to your family overseas. It could be a yoga class. It could be mentoring, a healing. Maybe you're an artist and you want to give an art class. They could be live as well. You could promote it beforehand. We could set it up, give the link, and you could have your clientele show up, and you could conduct live online classes, mentoring, meditations, yoga, what have you.
And you can combine the different possibilities too. So what we do is we lead the online classes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we upload them onto YouTube. So we can help you with both of these possibilities.
Exactly. Also, we can just do it as a recording, as I mentioned, and that could be available for on-demand archive. If you don't have a YouTube channel, we could show you how easy it is to create one and make it a nice place. You could point your friends and families there, and you could have your videos there. And again, for on-demand viewing, not necessarily just live. So that's really what we started out as, having the cameras, the microphones, the internet connectivity, the lighting, the software, and the experience to able to create a nice online experience with live audience, as well as a recorded video experience for on-demand archive. Now, in addition, of course, we have experience with the online medium. I came out of the IT industry. I do a lot of consulting work for very large companies, but we can help you in answering questions. Now, what we don't do, I'm not conducting classes on how to use Zoom or how to use Facebook Live or any of the others out there. There are many, many, many really good videos out there for that. So I can point you to them, but it makes no sense for us to spend the time in running classes on those varying platforms. There's so many good ones out there, and they're very easy to find. Having said that, it can be a little overwhelming as to which platform is the best one to use. And so that may be an area. I'm showing you now basically where Anka and I are seated on the left-hand side. This is the outside view of the Temple of Joy. You see the cameras and lighting and lamps and things, you know, and we're sitting at this table with the laptop. Again, that's our outdoor studio. And on the right-hand side, you see the healing room, the wooden floored yoga studio. Again, I'm in the room next to it with the camera and laptop and lighting, and Anka is conducting a live yoga class, which she does, gentle yoga, every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We record them, and those sessions are also available on demand on YouTube. So this gives you a sense physically what we have available here. And if you'd like to utilize it, we're safe, we're clean, we sanitize. We have, you know, we don't expect a group to come. And so we would work with you one-on-one to schedule and coordinate these offerings if they fit what you would like to see. On the other hand, if you, as we know now, Anahit, you're up in Los Angeles, you have family overseas, you'd like to do a meditation in the native tongue, which doesn't exist for them. What a wonderful thing to do. Well, we'd love to work with you, and we could use the same Zoom room here, and we could record you conducting from Los Angeles your meditation class, and we could create that as a video, upload it to YouTube, and you promote that off of your YouTube channel as a link to your family in Lebanon. So again, you don't have to physically come here. We could help you remotely manage that process. So I hope that's clear to everyone here. You know, if you thought that you were getting on the flight to New Delhi, you probably got on the wrong plane. So I want to make sure that you understand what we're offering here. So let me just give you some overviews. I think it's important to understand before you start diving into conducting Zoom meetings or Skype or Facebook or Google, or, you know, any of these, you really need to think about what kind of interaction you're seeking to have. You know, is this a one-on-one Well, you know, we all use phone for that. Skype is a great tool for one-on-one free international phone conversations. WhatsApp is a great platform we use for free international phone and video conversations. I would suggest using one of those two. I prefer WhatsApp, quite frankly. If it's one-to-many, if you want to do a seminar, a class, a concert, a kirtan, an event of some kind where you're on stage, so to speak, and there are many audience participants, well, you know, Xoom is great for that. Facebook Live is good for that. Facebook is coming out with their new messenger in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a competitor to Xoom. And it's going to be quite an interesting tool. I'll talk more about it in a moment. And of course, Google Rooms is, Google Meet is coming up here in May. Again, a new platform, kind of a repurposed one from Google's standpoint, but it's going directly into the market that Xoom is dominating right now with 300 daily users, 300 million daily users using Xoom. So give you a sense of scale, compared to Skype, that's about 80 million daily users using Skype for their communications platform. So Xoom is clearly the leader in this space right now for virtual meetings. But Google and Facebook are coming very quickly with some offerings that are going to be very competitive and, in fact, very attractive. I'll talk about those in a minute. Many to many, that's where you have everybody's a speaker. Everybody is joined together to share ideas. Think of it as seated in the round, and everyone has a microphone. Of course, only one speaks at a time, but that's a different kind of environment, and it could require different kinds of tools, not just technical tools, but social skills of how to manage that kind of communications environment. Pre-recorded without an audience, as I mentioned before, just creating an on-demand video archive that can be hosted on any of these varying platforms. Facebook Live is a good one. Obviously, YouTube is the favored one. Instagram, you know, there's many that will host streaming video content for free. So you record that, you make it an MP4, that's the file format for that video, and then you upload it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And lastly, of course, the interactions could be a combination of all of those. I conduct some meetings where it's many to many. People all come together to create a strategy, as an example, in business. And you get 40 people together. Well, it's often useful for you to break up into small breakout groups. And you can do that with some of these technologies. You can have people go into separate little rooms and they can talk online together and they can create a document together and then they come back together as the whole. So that's a hybrid kind of meeting. So in any event, think about the kinds of interactions that you want to have, who your audience is, and apply the appropriate tools and techniques and social skills to each of those types of interactions. In considering doing something online, these are some key points that I would stress that you'd want to have. First of all, have a clear intention. You know, I'm going to use you, Anahit, as an example because it's a new, and you shared with me your family, international family. And so her intention is to connect to her family with meditation. And she's researched the fact that there is no meditation, guided meditation in her native language available for her family. So her purpose is to create one. She knows her audience. She understands their needs and their aspirations. Well, we'll have to consider what her audience experience is. Does her family have appropriate internet? Do they have, do they have webcams and microphones and know how to utilize them? Would she may want to lead them in a guided meditation live and record that? Or just record something and have it as a video and have them watch it? Does she want them to watch the video while she's also live and she could give some guidance while she's doing it? These are all possibilities. So you select the right platform that fits your intention and the intended purpose. Then you want to have the right content. It's nice to just jump into a camera and start talking to people. You notice here I'm using slides. My slides, which I put together this morning for you. Very simple, but it gives you something to follow along as we're having this conversation together. So having content that supports your purpose is important. And when we work with any of you, we could help guide you in how that content can be created very easily and add great value to you and your audience's experience. Appropriate technical infrastructure, obviously important. What I see a lot of is people have very poor lighting. They get online and there's glare everywhere and you can't really see, or they have content that has tiny font that you can't read, or images that you can't quite make out. You want to make sure that you really have the right infrastructure. The internet itself is an important thing to consider. I'll give an example. We have a friend who's doing live concerts. By the way, his name is Karl Anthony. And if you know Karl, this Sunday, by the way, I think it's 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock Pacific time. He's going to do a live concert on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Beautiful music from the heart.
So please look up Karl with the K, K-A-R-L, Anthony, spelled A-N-T-H-O-N-Y. Karl Anthony on Facebook, and you'll find him. He's doing these live concerts on Facebook Live. They're wonderful. Sunday at 5 o'clock. Now, the issue with Facebook is you need pretty good bandwidth. Facebook is in business to make money, obviously. They make money on advertising, obviously. The more people they can have stay on their site, the more ads they can deliver to those eyeballs, the more money they make. So their goal is to get you to come to their site and stay as long as they can hold you there. Facebook Live actually prioritizes bandwidth to the length of the event. If you put a 5-minute video or do a 5-minute session, say one song on Facebook Live, they're going to give you less bandwidth than they would give you if you were going to do a 30-minute concert. So they're allocating their resources. Bandwidth costs money. It's one of their biggest expenses. And they'll allocate it where they can derive the greatest revenue return, in this case, advertising. So if you go on Facebook and you do a short video, you might find that it's going to not have the best experience with the user. It could be buffering. You may have watched videos that stop every now and then and sort of have to load, or they get choppy. They don't look perfectly contiguous. Well, that's partially why. So again, choose the right technical infrastructure. If you're going to do a short video, I would do it on YouTube. I wouldn't do it on Facebook. Appropriate dress. It's interesting. The first yoga class, I'm going to tell this story. Okay. I don't want to embarrass Anka, but the first online yoga class that we did in our studio, she had her top, or her regular yoga top. But I have a camera that's sitting up, kind of shooting down at an angle. And she went to do a downward facing dog. And no, her breast didn't fall out, but exposed a little more than I thought would be appropriate and than we thought. So I had to stop the camera and I said, wait a minute. And we had a change.
Just a higher shirt underneath. So just something to think about. If you do a yoga class in certain poses, depending on the camera angle, you may see something that you don't see when you're just sitting or standing.
Yeah.
And also maybe not wild colors. You may not want to wear something that has 10 different colors in it. Maybe just something solid, that's peaceful.
Yeah. Plain colors, jewel colored things come across very nicely. They express a really good energy. As devotees of Yogananda, we know that everything is energy. Everything is waves. And our chakras express colors. They manifest outwardly in the colors of the varying chakras, increasing the frequencies, changing the colors from red to ultra to violet. And so it is that your clothes will express a certain energy, the color, the texture. So you want to consider the appropriate dress for the medium and the audience. Surrounding environment's very important. I hear many of these online events and all of a sudden the dog's barking in the background, or the 2-year-old daughter, wants their mom's attention, which is very sweet, don't get me wrong, but it may be inappropriate in the middle of a recording session that you're having. Those kinds of things make a big difference. Surrounding environments have to be considered. Social protocol, very important. We all think about the technology, but rarely do we think of the sociology. Who is it that you're talking to? I know that you're devotees, and so I feel close to you. You're our spiritual family. I know that you appreciate our line of gurus. And so we're doing this with our gurus. We could have done it outside. We could have done it in the studio upstairs. And for non-devotees, we probably would have. But again, made more sense to honor you by providing the right environment that you would resonate to. Also, is your session going to be open mic? You want to make sure that people mute their mic when not speaking, unmute their mic when they speak. Do you want to allow them to do that on their own, or do you want to control it? As a host of a meeting, you can control it. You can unmute and mute. You can control their video as well. You can kick people out of their room. You can block people from entering. So you have controls. And finally, what are you doing after you're done? Now you've got this relatively large file. Depending on the environment it was filmed in, it'll determine what its format is. And you'll probably want to edit it a little bit. You may want to put an opening screen. You may want to put a credits at the end, or something of, what to do next. Here's how to reach me. Here's our YouTube channel, or here's my email, or make your donation here, whatever, those messages. You want to add that to your video, and then you want to render that video with the right kinds of characteristics so that it will play properly in the right environment. So for instance, if I take a high definition video, which we can do with our video camera, well beyond 1080p, we have now 5K video, very large content. The file size could be 200 gigabyte for a 1-hour session. It's a huge file. It's too big to host on YouTube. So you're going to want to change the bit rate. I apologize for the technical speak here. But you'll want to lower the bit rate on the video, change the characteristics somewhat, output it, save it. We call in the video world render it into a different format so that it's a smaller file that will play nicely in YouTube or Facebook Live or WhatsApp or Google, wherever. So you have to consider the post-production requirements in terms of editing and who's going to host the content to ensure that it's going to deliver a good experience to your audience. So these are some considerations. I hope that it's useful for you to think about these things. But on the other hand, don't see them as being overly complicated. They're really not. I was a little concerned writing them out because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to look at all this and go, gosh, I don't have time for all that rigmarole. Well, trust me, it's not as difficult as it looks. And again, if we can provide you the help, we're here to do that. So let me dive in just briefly before I open up the floor and hear from each of you and how we might be able to help you. But these are some of the leading platforms that are out today. Zoom is clearly number one in terms of the online virtual meeting with 300 million daily users, very large, by the way. Last week, well, no, we're still on Friday. This week, on the 29th, Zoom launched version 5.0, brand new version. You may have heard that people were talking about security issues, privacy issues in Zoom. And yes, they did exist. There was I won't get into a lot of those details unless you'd really like me to, but they have hired the head of security from Facebook, who has helped them implement new technologies. It's called point-to-point security. So things are encrypted at both ends of the transmission. So before you send something, it gets encrypted, and before it's received, it gets encrypted. So it cannot be stolen, shall we say. So they implemented that, and they launched a new version on the 29th. So I will tell you, it's not a real security issue or a risk for certainly for any of us, the way we use Zoom. We don't require people to register. We don't create passwords. We don't take money. We don't get credit card information, none of that. Now, you can do those things and you can do them securely if you want to do a business and you want to collect money. And now that they've implemented these point-to-point secure protocols, you're insured of having that security. Zoom is free. You can create an account. You can have a Zoom meeting right now for free for up to 100 people, but they limit you to 40 minutes. At 41 minutes, you're done. It'll shut off. Now, if you want to do a 1-hour class or anything over 40 minutes with up to 100 people, then you take on a premium account like we have. Not expensive. We pay $140 a year for our Zoom account. Now, you'll pay a little bit more than that if you pay on a monthly basis, and you can do that. You can pay month to month, something like $15. But think about it. I mean, the cost of an international phone call for an hour would be more than that. And for you to create a video, guided meditation for your family, or any kind of video that's going to be utilized by others internationally. And even if you just paid $15 and had your own Zoom account for 1 month, it's worth it. So I do like Zoom. It does allow you to stream video, audio, and or both. The audio can come from the computer. I noticed some of you here, I think someone logged in through an iPad, and someone, I think, even logged in from the phone. Mm-hmm. And you can do that. Now, if you called in from your phone without using the Zoom mobile app, where is my phone? I don't even have my phone. But you can download the Zoom mobile app, and you can connect to the Zoom meeting from your smartphone. Then you're able to see the video and the slides. You can chat. Now, if you're using an older phone that doesn't have that functionality, you just dial a phone number, you're going to hear just the audio. But the good news is anyone can connect into Zoom. They don't need internet. All they need is a phone. It is subscription-based pricing. You can record your Zoom sessions for free. You can save the recording locally to your computer, or you can save it to the Zoom cloud. That gives you the option. As soon as you start a recording, it will ask you, do you want to save it to your computer or save it to the cloud? There's plus and minuses for doing both. I won't go into the details of that, but if we talk one-on-one and start working within these platforms for you, I can help you make those smartest choices. It does create, at the end of your meeting, when you close the meeting, it will render the video in an MP4 file format, which is very nice. That's an encrypted file format. It's fairly tight. In other words, small file size. It's not too big. And then you can edit it to whatever outputs you would like. If you want it to be a different file format, some like Apple users use MOV. Well, you can convert it easily to MOV from MP4. You can do it, take just the audio. It records two files, one an MP3, which is audio only, and one is MP4, which is the audio and video. So if you want to do a recording in Zoom, you're going to end up with two files. You can decide, you can use both. People can, the audio only, we call that a podcast. So there's no video, there's no chat, but people can listen to it in their car or wherever. So Zoom is a good platform. Its weakness, it was built for large-scale corporate use. It was built for corporations to use inside their firewall as an internal communications device. It was not meant to be a consumer, broad consumer device. So there's a lot of flaws. The largest one was the security issue. See, they didn't have all these security protocols because they figured the corporate user already had those in place. They were operating Zoom within the firewall, so they already had the protection. So they didn't build it into their platform. Well, now, as of this week, they have built in the first phase of these secure protocols. They have a ways yet to go to make it a fully functioning consumer product. So that's one of its biggest weaknesses. It was built just for big business, not so much for small, hundreds of millions of users. Skype, you all know Skype probably. It's owned by Microsoft. It was started by a venture capital firm, investors. The largest investor was eBay. Again, it was meant to be a telecommunications platform to compete with AT&T and all the Bell companies. This was back 15 years ago when they started. It was really going to be the new phone company. Well, it turns out that all those phone companies got into digital voice communication very quickly. So it's called voice over IP. IP stands for Internet Protocol. So you see voice over IP. Well, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, all the phone companies today are literally digital now. They're running voice over IP. Skype was a voice over IP telecommunications platform that was before they all converted. So Skype had to kind of shift. They had to change their business model. They struggled financially. Again, Microsoft now bought them. Microsoft now has really done a great job at making it accessible to all devices, tablets, mobile phones, their Xbox console, computers, phones. It's a beautiful tool to use for international phone calls. You can do a lot of calling using Skype for free. There are some international calling that requires credits, so you have to give a credit card, and it does for payment. There's 600 million users worldwide on Skype. It's a very, very stable platform. Now they've added instant messaging. You can share your desktop like I am here. I'm sharing slides from my desktop. I could take you on a web tour, show you websites, whatever. That you can obviously do video, audio, images. You can share files. I can't do that in Zoom. If I wanted to give you a handout right now, there's no way in Zoom for me to distribute files. In Skype, you can. Skype, again, is not so great for many-to-many or one-to-many. It's great for one-on-one. You can have up to 50 users in a Skype call. And I have done many Skype calls that had close to that number. I'm not as comfortable using Skype in large scale. If I'm at 20 people or less, Skype is a great tool to use. Facebook Live. This is a new feature that was added not long ago to Facebook's social network that enabled streaming video from a Facebook page. And specifically, Facebook pages are news feeds, they are Facebook stories, they are Facebook events. So if you have a Facebook page, you can create an event, you can create a story, you have your news feeds. Facebook Live operates in your news feeds and your events only. It's really meant to be a streaming video service. It wasn't meant to be conduct a meeting, conduct a yoga class. So like Karl Anthony on Sunday at 5 o'clock, he's going to conduct a concert, one-to-many. Facebook Live is beautiful for that. Again, because his concert will go longer than the 10 minutes or so, so he'll get allocated bandwidth. You might still notice, as Anka and I have in some of his past concerts, that we get glitches. It isn't a perfect allocation of bandwidth, so we don't get like television-like streaming quality from Facebook Live. But still, it's free. It's unlimited users. You can have 1,000 people log into your Facebook Live event. You can have that event run up to 8 hours long. So, you know, if you wanted to have a very long concert with multiple performers or speakers, multiple speakers, for 8 hours, you can run for 8 hours on Facebook Live for free. Now, Facebook is about to, they announced last week at a press conference, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, he rang the bell at NASDAQ from his office up in Silicon Valley. And he announced that they are going to launch Messenger Rooms. Now, they say they're going to have that out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It is not out today, but it is coming very soon. Messenger Rooms will give you the ability to create and share rooms within your Facebook page. So you can have a room for your yoga, you can have a room for your kids' homework with their teacher, you can have a room for cooking, you can have different rooms for different uses. Each room can hold up to 50 users with no time limit for how long an event was taking place within that room. So they're kind of like standing rooms. So you'll be able to say, yeah, meet me in my Facebook room, my Messenger room, and let's meditate together. Or, you know, let's talk about our sales strategy in our strategy room on our Facebook Messenger, on our Facebook page. If you're a Facebook user, Facebook Messenger Rooms is going to be a really good option for you to consider. One of the good things about it is you won't have to be a Facebook user to access somebody's room. So I know, like, my parents are not Facebook users, and if I did a family conference on a Messenger room on Facebook, they wouldn't be able to join it. They're not going to join Facebook. In the Messenger room, you don't have to be a member of Facebook. So in essence, they're going to offer the Zoom functionality without the limitations. Again, you can have multiple rooms for free. You can have up to 50 users, unlimited time, all free. So watch for Messenger Rooms on Facebook. It's going to be a new functionality coming out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it's really going to be something that is going to, I believe, take off very quickly. One other point I noted on here, by the way, to have a Facebook Live activity, an event live or recorded, you have to have a minimum 100 Facebook subscribers. Again, remember, Facebook has given this for free. The reason is they want users to come and stay for a long time on their platform because they're delivering advertising all the time, and that's where they're making their money. So if you're a Facebook user, but you only have 38 friends, you couldn't use Facebook Live. And lastly, but certainly not least, and what I think is going to become my personal favorite, Google Meet. This is coming in May of this year, or at least as of yesterday. This is what they've said. This is free, 60-minute maximum gatherings. Now, if you want to go over 1-hour gatherings, there's going to be a subscription-based model, so there'll be a cost to it. But you can do 1-hour sessions for free, unlimited number of sessions that you want, and 100 participants in a session at a time. It'll have scheduling, calendar, you can do invites to people that will join your Google Meet event. They'll have real-time captioning. So you can turn on captioning and see the closed captions when the event's going on. This is good for people that may not have the best audio connection. It'll have desktop sharing, streaming video, streaming audio, recordings. It's going to have all the functionality of Zoom and more. And of course, from a company that has a data center and experience in streaming videos that is bar none. So I think Google Meet is going to become a real force in the consumer space for these kinds of meetings. So there are others. Now, I'm not including them all. I don't have Duo. You know, Google has Duo for video calls. It's a great tool, but it's really not a tool built around events, you know, online meetings and events. So I don't have that. I don't have WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a great tool I mentioned earlier about conference calling, you know, doing international calls with video, also text messaging. You can send files, you can share pictures. Great tool. I use it every day. All my friends in India, they're sending me video and pictures every day from India. It's a great tool, but I don't use it at all for any kind of online meeting or an event.
And for any group phone call, you can also use freeconferencecall.com. But I think here we have a pretty good overview of the main video options.
I hope that was useful for you.
Yeah, and if any of you like to share what you have in mind, what kind of meeting you like to create or online event, maybe we can get a sense of what you're really looking for, what's helpful for you.
So that's a great point, Anka. There's a chat room here. And oh, by the way, before I go there, for the benefit of those that are watching an archive, I'm going to stop the recording now. Then whatever gets posted here isn't available publicly to other people. So I want to honor that. Again, this is a social protocol you want to be aware of. So thank you for watching here today. For those that are live, stick around. We have more to discuss, but this will conclude our recorded archive. Blessings to all of you. So let us know how we can help service you.